If you learn anything from me, it has to be this. Your mindset is 80% of the reason why you will or will not get a job. People always get it mixed up, right? They always think like the more strategy that I know, the more small little things, the more keywords I put in my resume, the more prettier I do these things, the more effort that I put in, the more applications I send out, that's what's going to get me to where I want to be. But I need you to know, I need you to understand, and this has happened from me in my past experiences and my clients as well, is that mindset plays such a big role in this. And here's why: your mindset actually drives your actions instead of the other way around. And trust me, this is the difference from people getting ghosted and not seeing any results, and from getting job offers. So trust me when I say this, your mindset is 80% of your success. 20% is a strategy. Of course you need the strategy. Of course you need to know exactly what to say it, how to find the people, how to find the jobs and everything. Of course you need to do that. But your mindset is so important, and I cannot stress this enough. First and foremost, and I know this sounds really like cliche, but you have to believe in yourself. If you don't believe in yourself, how the hell do you expect anyone else to believe in you too, right? Though your employers or whoever's going to be employing you, or your hiring managers or whatever, they are not there to validate you. They are there to see your value. So if you do not see your own value, how can you expect them to do that? You're a stranger to them, right? You've known yourself for all your life. How many years you've been on this earth? You know exactly what you come with. So when it comes to believing yourself, I always tell my clients the easiest hack to do, especially if you feel like you're getting through imposter syndrome and you're kind of like in self-doubt and you're like, I don't know if I can do this. Picture yourself 5 years from now. And if that's not juicy enough, picture yourself 10 years from now. Who are you? Who is that person? Because if you think about yourself, even 10 years ago, 5 years ago, who was that person, right? Me being me, I was impulsive. I was so weird. I didn't know how to speak in front of the camera. I wasn't myself. I was trying to conform into a box, right? And now I feel so much more confident. I'm able to actually be myself and not really give a shit about what anyone thinks. And I'm actually able to have the impact that I want because I'm actualizing into the person I'm meant to be. Right. So if you can't think of yourself forward, bring it back a little. Think about where you were and then who you are now and who you want to be. So just think about it as steps. Now, when you're becoming that person, or you are, let's say, embodying that person that's 5 years from now, think about how they walk, think about how they talk, think about how they dress, think about how they show up in a room. And I want you to become that. So if you ever read The Alter Ego Effect, it's kind of similar to that. And it's not becoming a different person, it's becoming the most actualized version of yourself, becoming the best version of you. And then once you show up as the best version of you, show up as that authentic authority. You know how much I love that. And once you become that, everyone else has no choice but to just conform. They have no choice but to see your value because you are already there. And if they don't see your value, if they decide to go somewhere else, it doesn't affect you as much because you know who you are. You have the belief in yourself that no matter what happens, you got it, right? You have so many innate abilities. You have an amazing different perspective. You've been through so much in your experience. You've been through so much in your life, and you are such an amazing person. And once you have that belief in yourself, everything else just kind of crumbles away almost. It's like things are not as important because what's important is the self belief. And this brings me to my next point. What isn't happening for you is happening for a reason, right? I always tell my clients that what's not happening for you is not meant for you. And maybe you're being saved from from like something crazy, right? So um if you think about your life, there's usually a time where you're like, oh my god, I'm so glad that I didn't do this, right? It could be small coincidences like, oh, I'm glad that I was late today because if I was a little bit earlier, I would have hit the train. Hear about people who avoid natural disasters or big things just because they're in the different place at a different time. It's just like that, right? So when it comes to your job search and you're thinking about jobs that you absolutely love, there is a reason why it's not happening for you. And when I did my job search experiment back in March, I felt the same way actually, because as you guys know, I'm a full-time career coach, so this is what I do full time. I love what I do, but as I was doing my job search experiment, I actually found a job that I actually really liked, and I was like, you know what? If I could do that and do coaching at the same time, I would love to do it. And I got through the entire process, and I was vibing with the hiring manager, I was vibing with the people's operations person and my direct manager, and everything was going well, and I did well on the test project and everything. And then at the end, they went with another candidate. And honestly, it was really heartbreaking for me to hear that. Honestly, and again, I have a backup. That wasn't something that I wanted to do, but at the end of the day, I was excited for it, and it felt aligned for me. And not getting that opportunity just felt like a stab to the heart. It felt like, you know what, am I even good at what I do? And I had these like thoughts of self doubt. Right now, that happened back in March. And since then, since I've gone over that, and I've been doing being more consistent within my coaching and marketing and all that stuff, I've come to love really what I do. I've changed how I do my coaching. I've made it more accessible for people, and it's just something bigger than I ever thought it would have been. And this would not have happened. I will not have actualized into this if I took that role. I would have been a slave to that role. I would have been back at a 9 to 5. Things would have been so different. And so when it comes to you and your career, just think about bullets that you have dodged. Maybe these are relationships that you've been in that seemed okay in the beginning, but afterwards you realize that, oh my God, this actually sucks. This person isn't who I thought it was. They're gaslighting, they're manipulative, they're all that things, right? So there's a reason why what is not happening for you isn't happening, and it's usually to protect you, or it's preparing you for something better, right? You need to go through these trials and tribulations in order to become that person that you're meant to do, to receive the things that you're meant to receive the opportunities, the jobs, the offers, all the money, all that stuff. You need to go through these things. So it's hard in the moment to see it, of course, but I want you to know that there's always something better that is coming for you. And if it's not this, it's something better. And this goes really well into my third point, that rejection is redirection. Wherever that you think that you're meant to be and everything, it might not be the path for you. And that's okay, right? Think about your career right now. Think about where you're at right now and where you've been, and every single step that's led you to where you are right now, and how you could have never guessed that this would have been your reality. You would have never guessed that your last role turned out the way that it did, and the role before that, and the role before that, and the role before that, right? Every single thing happens for a reason, and there is a reason why what you're looking for isn't showing up just yet. Maybe it's not the right timing for you. Maybe you're not the right person yet. Maybe you need to go through some things, like I said, in order to become that person. Or maybe, just maybe, there's something else that's coming in your horizon, and you need to kind of think about that. Think about the possibilities instead of thinking about what you're lacking, right? Instead of thinking about the things that are not, think about the things that could be, right? So when you're in a job search and you're not getting something that you want, just think about, okay, it's this or something better. It's this or something better. I always talk to myself whenever there's something that I'm holding on to and I'm really attached to. It's this or something better. This or something better. And if it's not that, something better, right? Something better is going to happen. I keep repeating this over and over again because I really, really want to stick with you, because this is one of the things that changed my life and the way that I see things. Just because when you're in the weeds of things and you're getting rejected and you're getting hurt and you're putting all your energy into things and it's not working out the way that you want to, it's really, really hard to see this. But if you have the wherewithal and you know this beforehand, it becomes just a little bit easier, and then every single time forward from that, it becomes easier and easier to go through. And the last note that I want to make is the ability to pull back to pull forward. So I know that you've heard about this, you know, about a bow and arrow, right? So you pull it back in order for the arrow to launch forward. That's you. Okay. Especially in this time in your life when you are in the middle of changing your careers, or you're thinking about changing your career, you might need to pull back in order to move forward. So for me, when I was going through my job search back then, when I was like, okay, I need to leave. This is the time. I was at my I'm done moment. I was like, I need to change my life. I need to make a decision for myself. I had to pull back a little in order to get to where I wanted to be, meaning that the job that I was in, I had to stay there a little bit longer. Even though I didn't feel aligned to it, even though it didn't feel right for me, I had to stay there a little bit longer because I knew that if I left that position, when I did, I would have had feelings of like scarcity. I would have had feelings of lack when, and like kind of like desperation energy when I was applying to things. And I wasn't going to be in the right energy to receive what I was meant to receive. So, if you're in that position right now where either one, you're in a job that might be paying you decently, but you're not fully in love with it, I would say just stick it out until you find something. And the way that this current job market is going is you're gonna need to spend a little bit more time there. It might not be forever, it might not be another year or anything like that, but you will need to spend some time there because having your nervous system a little bit more calm around you applying and not having that like, oh, I need to get a job or else I can't pay the bills, is just such a different energy when you come from that. When you actually come from actualizing into who you're meant to be and what you're meant to do at the right time, things just completely change. And if you already have made the jump, and I've done this so much in my career too. So if you already had made the jump and you're like, you know what, I'm done, I'm not going to be in this position anymore, I want to leave, and you have been searching for a long time, or you've been looking for a job and you haven't found anything yet, and you're feeling that like, oh no, I'm gonna lose my home, or I'm not gonna be able to pay rent, I can't pay my bills, I need a job, right? And that needy energy, that sticky energy, that I have to have it kind of energy is kind of what holds us back. So again, pulling back to move forward is getting a position lower than where you're expecting to go. And again, it's only temporary, right? I had one of my clients, she got laid off from a really big tech company and she was making well over six figures. And in order for her to get back to that and go from like, okay, I need to pay this, I need to do this, I need to do this, and think about her finances and be so stressed about it, she had to find a job that paid her maybe half of that, that would just pay the bills. Just it'll be just enough money, because that would give her the stability that she needed in her life before she moved forward. And soon after, she ended up getting a role and it ended up being amazing. It was even better than her first role. But it just goes to show that you might need to take something a little bit lower and lower in pay, lower in benefits. You might need to take a little bit of a sacrifice in order to get to where you want to be. And this is just temporary. And I know there's all of us that are like, okay, I just want to get a job right now. I want to do this right now. I want to all these things, but sometimes it's not the right timing. Sometimes divine timing has another plan for you in the moment. So what you can do is you can just regulate your nervous system by having something, so you're not worried about the money, you're not worried about the finances, you're not worried about, I need this job or else I cannot X. I need this job or else I cannot be free. I need to have this, right? That needy energy comes off no matter what you do, no matter how much you push it away. Energy is felt, right? If you think about like how animals are and how they react to you when you feel a little bit nervous, that's how it is with people too. It's on a different scale though, right? We can kind of mask it a little, but we always know if there's something a little bit off. When I was a recruiter, there was somebody that I just had like a bad feeling about, even though she was like seemed like a really good and aligned candidate based on what she was saying, but there was something just a little bit off about her. And I ended up finding out later on that there was a lot of things off about her, but it just goes to show that it doesn't matter how much you say, it doesn't matter how much you do, it doesn't matter how much you hide, your energy is still going to show up. So you need to, one, regulate yourself and make sure that you are in an energy of receiving instead of an energy of I need, right? A needy energy. Receiving energy is very, very different, and looking for opportunities in places and being more open, being more like uplifting and more positive. That's what's going to get you to where you want to be, not that needy energy. So, whatever you need to do in this moment to make yourself feel a little bit better, do that, right? When I was looking for jobs and I was like in between things, I took a job as a cell phone salesperson and I was looking for things in between, right? In between that, like when I was changing from my executive assistant job, I was serving in between, I was a waitress in between, and it's totally fine. I was only there for a couple months, but that gave me the stability and the wherewithal to actually land my dream job and work from home and get all the benefits, go on company retreats, all the good things. I got all of that, but I just needed to pull back in order to move forward. And it's not typically what we see or what we want to do, but at this day and age, and specifically if you're feeling that stress, you just need to take that pressure off just a little bit in order for you to acclimate into where you're meant to be. All that being said, I just want you to know that your mindset is so important and the way that you view things is so important. So changing the way that you see things and refreshing your perspective on things and seeing things almost like in a delulu way. And you're so constantly, you're so delusional that you're like, okay, like this is just the best thing ever, right? Picturing yourself as a protagonist in a movie, being like, okay, this is like the climax of the movie, but it's just going to get so much better. I'm going to get a happy ending. And really positioning things like that and seeing things with the glass half full is what's going to get you to where you want to be. And if you're not there right now, it's okay. You've been there and you've been here. And sometimes you just need to feel this feeling just a little bit longer before you can actually become that person that can receive, that person that does see the opportunities, the person that does land the job and feels confident in herself, and the person that just is just free. And it just takes a little bit of time, and it's totally fine. Everyone has different timing, but I know that you got this. Okay, wherever you're at right now, you got this. I am here for you. You can watch this as many times as you like. You can take notes, you can do all the things, but you got this. This is just a season. It will pass, and I will see you in the next video.